Hello, Hey Boomer listeners. Welcome to Monday and to Hey Boomer. Today we're going to talk about overcoming challenges and leadership. So let me start with talking about overcoming challenges. When we are young, we all have challenges that we're faced with. They may be that we were bullied in school. People made fun of us. They may be that we had learning disabilities. Maybe they were bigger things like the divorce of our parents or death of a loved one. And these are difficult for kids to deal with. And then on top of that, as we become adults, we add additional challenges. Like we may end up working in a toxic work environment. That's a big one. People will have relationship challenges, money challenges. And so all of those are added on top of some of the challenges that we bring with us from our childhood. My guest today, Sandra Flaum, is the author of a book called Stutter Steps, and he writes about one of his early challenges of overcoming stuttering, which you can imagine as a child, that was a big one to deal with. And the advice he got from his mother was work harder and work smarter. And I have to tell you, he did. In fact, he worked so hard and so smart, he became a speech writer for Bobby Kennedy. How cool is that? On top of that, he also became a leader. So I want to talk about leadership a little bit. Now, I did some research to find out how many leadership books have been written. And the latest statistic I could find was from 2015. And it said at that point, there were over 15,000 books on leadership that had been written. So you can imagine how many more there are today. Which also tells me there are lots of ideas on leadership. Ideas about leadership have changed and evolved over time. And I started to think about what does leadership mean to me? And, I think it starts at an individual level. We are leaders in our own lives. We make decisions about whether what kind of work we want to go into, what we plan to do that today, who we plan to be with, what we're choosing to eat. All of these are leadership decisions that we make in our own lives. And then we also may assume roles as leaders in clubs, in organizations, in our family. And I wonder how much thought we actually give to what does that mean to be a leader of others? And how much thought do we give to how much of what it means to be a leader for ourselves? My guest today, Sandra Flaum, also has written several leadership books. And we're going to talk about some of those books in this discussion as well and get his ideas. I also want to tell you about an event that I have coming up June 30th. I'm so excited about this. It's going to be a panel of some of the leading experts in the country on aging. I'm so grateful that these people have agreed to be on the panel. And what we're calling it is Boomers Thriving After the Pandemic. So we're going to talk about what it means to thrive in various parts of our lives. All of these experts are going to be providing tools and takeaways that you'll get as part of the registration. And this summit is being sponsored by Meals on Wheels Greenville and the Walk to End Alzheimer's, which means that each of those organizations will get 10% each of your registration for this summit. So I know it's going to be outstanding. I'm looking forward to you all becoming part of it. And you can find the registration link on the Facebook page and on the LinkedIn page. If you're unable to find it, just drop me an email at wendy@heyboomer.biz. And I will be glad to send you the link to register or just even to, look at it to find out some more information. And you can also be added to my email list by dropping me an email as well. As you know, I like you all to comment, and I see a few of you out there already. So send me your comments, ask your questions. I will be monitoring the chat and happy to pass your questions on to Sander as they come in. So with that, let me bring Sander on. Hello, Sander.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me, Wendy.
Oh, thanks for being here. Let me just preface this by saying that Sander is in Manhattan. And so if we hear a siren or some background noise, that's just the color of Manhattan being added to our show today.
And you probably will.
I know. Right. You probably will. So Sander Flaum is an acknowledged business leader, marketing and sales effectiveness coach, a leadership and motivational speaker, and best-selling author. He has published 5 books since 2006, and like I said, we're going to talk about some of those today. Sander has his own company, but that's not enough. He needs more. So he's also on the boards of the Ohio State University College of Arts and Sciences, the John Glenn College of Public Affairs, the James Cancer Center, the Fisher College of Business, where he also serves as an executive in residence. He sponsors an associate professor at the Flaum Speech Fluency Program, and he also served as an adjunct professor for the Fordham Leadership Forum for 16 years. No moss growing on you, Sander. He has received numerous awards. He's the graduate of Ohio State University and has an MBA from Farley Dickinson. And there is so much more to say about Sander, but I am going to let him start to tell us his story. So Sander, you recently published this book, Stutter Steps, about some of the struggles that you had as a child and about some of the therapies that people with fluency challenges can deal with, as well as inspiration from other people. Can you tell us why now you chose to publish this book?
Sure. Well, Wendy, I've been involved with stuttering and stutterers all my life. I'm the former chairman of the American Institute for Stuttering, and guess who our guest of honor was 5 years ago? Joe Biden.
I know.
When you come to my place, you'll see a big picture of Joe Biden and myself.
The two of you together?
That's the two of us together. It was really great. And Stutter Steps is on his desk right now, by the way.
On Joe Biden's desk.
Yeah.
Aw.
So anyway, how did I get involved? Well, knowing so many stutterers ever, I decided that I was going to do a book on how these people overcame the stutterers to become who they are. Emily Blunt, for example. Emily Blunt, great story. She was a high school student. I mean, we all love Emily Blunt.
Yeah, she's a great actress, yeah.
She was a high school student. Our teacher said, Emily, you're going to be in this play. Emily said, no, I'm a stutterer. I can't be in the play. Emily, you'll use a different voice, and you will be in this play. Emily said, she had no choice. She used a different voice and hasn't stuttered since. with a different voice.
Really?
Yes, she has a different voice when she stutters. But when you're with her one-on-one, you'll hear her with a disfluency.
Huh.
And of course, the famous John Krasinski is her husband.
So
I
by
love,
just using a different voice, she was able to overcome.
yeah,
Huh.
I love John. I love John Krasinski, by the way. He's a super human being. Anyway, they've been married for a long time, two, 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 two kids, and a wonderful marriage. Anyway, so considering that, I decided that I'm going to really focus on how they overcame it. Samuel L. Jackson was the best stutterer. He overcame it.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Bruce Willis, again, was, I guess, he overcame it and how he did it. Okay.
Yeah. And all of this is in your book.
Oh, yeah. How they did it.
Yeah.
Eric Sheeran. Another one.
Huh.
So, on how he did it. By the way, at the gala, Eric pulled me aside, gave me a check for $10,000.
Who was this? Who gave you a check for
Eric
10,000?
Sheeran. Eric Sheeran, the great singer from Ireland. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he says, Sandra, don't mention this to anybody. This is between you and me.
And now the Hey Boomer audience.
Wonderful. So it's wonderful being in a position to help the stutterers, have the stutterers speak to other stutterers during our gala, to tell them in person how they did it. Okay? The head of the NIS, Dr. Heather Grossman, is a fabulous speech therapist. But I got my training at the Holland Communications Research Institute at Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay.
I was a real, not a bad stutter, I was a medium stutter. And I watched TV one day, and there was an ad of a person who was a bad stutterer, went to Holland, and boom, it was fluent. So I went to Holland, together with John Glenn's wife, Annie Glenn, who was a very best stutterer, you may recall.
From your
Annie
book.
Glenn,
Annie Glenn, John Glenn's wife. Yeah.
yes, John Glenn's wife. And we became close friends. And John Glenn came back from space on his 77th birthday and came with Holland that weekend. And Annie said, I've arranged a private luncheon, which was John. I said, no, Annie, I can't. You have to come. Sandra, John wants to be with you alone. So I filled out an index card full of questions for John. How did you do it? How did you go from New York to LA? And you broke the speed record. How did you do that? How did you come and ask me that? How did that happen? He said to me, hold on, Sandra, put that away. You know everything about me. And he talked about you all the time. I want to hear about you. That's John Glenn. I told him a little bit about it, blah, blah, blah. 3 weeks later, I'm flying into Columbus, Ohio, into the Columbus International Airport. I looked down at the sign. It's no longer the Columbus International Airport. It's the John Glenn Airport.
It's the John Glenn Airport. Okay.
So I get to the hotel, call Annie. I said, Annie, could you put John on, please? John, we talk every other week. You didn't even mention it's the John Glenn Airport. Ah, Sandra, no big deal. That was John Glenn. There's a big street, Wendy, outside of the airport called Annie and John Glenn Street.
Yeah. Yeah. So you studied, but in your book, Sandra, you talk about many different therapies for stuttering. And I think it's a great resource for people. I have a comment here. One of our listeners said she studied stuttering under, I don't know what SR means, Charlene Bloom at the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York in the late 70s. Have you heard of her?
Sure.
Okay.
And there's lots of different speech therapies. But the thing that works the best is the Holland.
The Holland
Method. You have to pronounce words in a certain way. The B's, D's, G's are very hard for stutterers. So when you say Sandra, you don't say that anymore. You say Sandra, soft S. And we're there for 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Morning and night.
Morning and night of practice.
At night, you have to make calls to the storekeepers. How late do you open? we actually drive the storekeepers crazy. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you doing the show here at 1 o'clock. I know you mentioned to me that mornings are better for you. And I said, well, we do 1 o'clock. And you said one of the things that you do to help you also manage the stuttering is you meditate.
Yes. Very useful for stutterers to do slow, comfortable breaths at least 15 minutes before you have to speak. I do that to every speech that I make. And I did it with you as well.
Well, I appreciate it. So I also wanted to talk about some of your work in the leadership realm. Okay. And so you've been in academia, you've been in healthcare, you've had your own business. So can you give us a brief summary of your career and how you've been in so many different areas?
Sure.
I know brief is hard when you're 84.
Well, I worked for a big pharmaceutical company after the Bobby Kennedy, a company called Flaum Navigators. It's now Pfizer.
Okay.
And I ran the vaccine department. They made it #1 in the world. The oncology group, #1. Didn't get the big promotion. I was the marketing director, but my colleagues were promoted, and I wasn't. So, after 18 years, I decided no help. And being the leader that I am, I'm getting out. So interviewed and got a job as head of an advertising agency in New York called Havas, Havas. the big French media company. They were losing $1 million a month. And I came in and Miss Michelle, my ex-wife, said, "Honey, take a cut in pay and do a productivity deal." I said, "What?" "Honey, take a cut in pay and what's the productivity deal?" She said, "Listen, Michelle was a lot smarter than I am." She said, "I'll take 3% of all the profits, over $3 million." I said, "Honey, they're losing $1 million a month." Her response was, "You can do it."
Oh, that's encouraging. That's nice.
So I did it. And we got out of the red in 2 years. And they made me the president of U.S. and the following year the president of global. So we ended up at 2,300 employees.
2,300 employees?
Around the world. And we grew to number 2 in the world in 15 years.
Wow. Wow, Sander.
You know, you can only work for the French for so long before you go to a pawn shop. Get a 45 and start shooting. So enough. So that's when I started my own company in 2004. And Flaum Navigators, you know, this singular focus, new ways to jump the revenue curve.
Oh, okay. So an innovative.
I'm still in it, still doing it. I mean, business sucks, but, you know, of course, pandemic. But that's what I'm doing now. I'm never going to retire.
Well, that's what you told me, Sander. So you started your own company in 2004. You're now 84. Most people at your age are, you know, sitting in the backyard, sipping a margarita, watching the flowers grow. I mean, what keeps you going?
I go crazy being retired, Wendy. I can't do that.
No?
I have to keep moving forward. And that's my advice for stutterers. Always move forward. And that's what I'll always do. I teach people that you cannot stop. So that's been it.
So you think it's just kind of in your DNA that you just need to keep busy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving forward and doing.
Moving forward.
New and innovative things.
And you know what? I think that's a good point, right? It's not keeping busy, it's moving forward. How do you distinguish between that?
Doing new things.
Doing
innovative things. Different things. I'm not the same. I have to continue to move forward.
Learning, creating.
I read everything every day.
Huh.
Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the New York Post, and every day something new. I read every week, Fortune magazine every month.
Wow.
And I still write a column, by the way.
Oh, you still write a column? Where's your column published?
MedEd News.
Where is it?
Medical Advertising News.
Oh, the medical advertising. Yeah. So I want to talk about your book that you wrote with your son, Jonathan. Of course, you know, I have a son, Jonathan, as well. Spelled the same way. I love that. But it's called The 100-Mile Walk. And it was about walks that you and he did together, discussing your different philosophies on leadership. And I think you came up with 9 steps. Was that it?
9 P's.
9 P's of leadership. So I wonder if you would share some of your insights from those conversations and those walks.
Well, we decided to walk 50 miles in my shoes and 50 miles in his shoes. Okay, because we had a different rapport on what leaders do.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I told you that Jonathan was a Buddhist monk.
Mm-hmm.
Then he dropped out of that. But we walked 50 miles over the Blue Ridge Mountains, the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, talking about the people I admired. Jack Welch's of the world, the older guys. And then we walked 50 miles on the beach in the Hamptons, from Montauk all the way down. So that's what we did on the beach.
And so, how different were your philosophies around leadership?
We thought it would be very different, right?
Yeah.
But basically, when you read the book and understand, the first P is people.
People.
People surround themselves, leaders surround themselves with people as smart or smarter than they are in areas that they are deficient.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go down the piece, you'll see that it basically is pretty much the same. We agree, the passion. You have to have passion or get the hell out of there. If you don't have passion for your job, get out. Anyway, we talked about something called benign paranoia. No one could do it better than me.
Mm.
Benign paranoia. You may be on the beach with your family. You may be on the beach, but the phone is close by. Someone may be trying to steal your best person. You want to know why. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always, I go through the list of the people.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. I think it's interesting. And I'm curious now, that was what, about 15 years ago that you and he did that. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So over the ensuing 15 years, do you feel like things will have changed if you guys tried to do that again?
No, it's more emphasis.
More empathy.
You have the book, Wendy?
Not yet. I'm getting it.
You'll love it. No,
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah. Oh, I think I will.
It was on the Business Week bestseller list for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd have to get it. If you can't get it, give me a call and I'll send you one.
Oh, it's on Amazon. I looked. I'm going to get it. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jonathan is living in Asheville now, right?
Yes.
And he also has his own business now.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's wonderful. Wait till you meet him. Or wait till you interview him. He's one of a kind.
I'm sure, as are you,
Love the
Sander.
interview.
Yeah,
You
well.
would love it.
So tell me about some of the, I know you taught at Fordham, is that right?
Well, yeah, for 16 years.
At Fordham. Tell me about what that experience was like.
Well, back then, we started to focus, Wendy, on the 100-mile walk.
On what?
On the 100-mile walk.
Okay, that's what you started it on.
And then we went to the next book, the next book. We focused on the best thing that ever happened to you. That is when you lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best thing that ever happened to you because you probably hated it, okay? And they didn't appreciate you. And the book said how to find your next job. So we focused on that as well.
And that was your next book. That was the book after the 100-Mile Walk, the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because the jobs that I have lost, it has been the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
But
Then you move on to your next opportunity.
yeah, but you have to have the right mindset.
Yes. Yes, you do.
So did you teach what the mindset was that you would need to be successful in finding your next opportunity?
Yes. And most people did not have that mindset. Yet younger MBA students just didn't have it. So I had to go through what that mindset was. It's about always looking forward. And if you're not happy or they're not happy with you, get the hell out of there. Get out of there.
Which is what you did in the pharmaceutical industry when you realized,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And so the mindset that you teach and that you live is to always look forward.
And be smarter.
Be smarter. So how do you do that?
You can tell when someone doesn't appreciate you. Get out of there. Get out. Why work in that kind of atmosphere?
That toxic work environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me what you're doing today with Flaum Navigators. What?
Well, I got a call coming in right now.
Oh, you do?
Well, it's half.
So,
Is it okay if we conclude?
well, let me ask you one more question then. Okay. And that is that the Hey Boomer Show is about inspiring and motivating people over 55. So what would you leave as takeaways for people to be inspired and motivated moving forward?
If you stay in the same space and do the same thing every day, you will go out of your mind. You'll go out of your mind. You have to move forward and do the things that make you happy. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Wendy.
All right, Sander, don't leave yet, everybody, because I have a few things to say. But Sander, thank you for your time today.
Of course. And I want to see your show.
All right, I'll send you the link.
Please.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's see. The things I was going to share with you were ways that you could reach Sander if you're interested in finding out more about his books, stuttering, and the business that he's in. You can email him at sflaum@flaumnavigators.com. I also wanted to let you know that next Monday is Memorial Day, and I am taking that day off. I am looking forward to a vacation, a few days in Black Mountain, so that should be nice. I also want to thank one of our co-sponsors for Boomers Thriving After the Pandemic, and that's Meals on Wheels Greenville. Meals on Wheels enhances the quality of life of homebound individuals and seniors in Greenville County and across the country by providing nutritious meals, personal interaction, and independence. You can join in their fight against food insecurity and loneliness by reaching out to your local Meals on Wheels Meals on Wheels organization and volunteer to help. I also want you to know that Hey Boomer is looking for sponsors, businesses that you think might be interested in reaching boomers and would like to support what we are doing by motivating and inspiring people in our age group to be involved, to feel relevant, to be part of their community. So if anybody knows a company like that that you think would be interested, please let me know. I can be reached at my email address at wendy@heyboomer.biz. And since we're not doing Memorial Day, let me tell you who's coming up on June 7th. She is quite a character. Her name is Leslie M. And Leslie is a former UK TV host and advertising creative director who then started her own training company. And she has trained in organizations like PepsiCo and Google. And what she's done is help those organizations and their executives and teams unleash their potential, claim their voice, and claim what she calls their swagger. So that's the name of her recent book, Swagger. And it's just been released, seriously, and it's recently made the bestseller list on Wall Street Journal and USA Today. So good for Leslie. And it's not the kind of swagger that we all go, oh, that's so arrogant, yuck. No, it's not that. It's the form of swagger that teaches us to own our voice, to own our authenticity, to speak from our true self. So she's very high energy. I think you'll enjoy her. I hope you all enjoy your Memorial Day. And I look forward to seeing you all back on June the 7th. If you all want to say what my final line is with me, I like to close with a quote from C.S. Lewis where he says, "You are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream." I know your time is valuable. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on June 7th. Bye.